So as I mentioned this morning, as I reviewed the agenda, we pivot here as we move from lunch into the afternoon sessions with a focus on the role of business and corporate water stewardship in supporting the post-2015 development agenda, with a focus in particular on the three thematic areas related to water. We begin the afternoon with a couple of background presentations and then some observations, and then move into three panel discussions built around the questions that are on your agenda related to scope, nature of goals, and implementation mechanisms. After we move through the three discussion panels, we'll move to an opportunity for a response panel and some facilitated discussion of the whole. I wanted to note that during that facilitation of the whole, that will be the first time on this agenda that we will open the floor to direct observation from participants. And there I would, and we'll probably have anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, I would encourage you with that time to, again, focus on observations that you have after having listened to the panels and discussions throughout the day. Again, it's an opportunity for those that are here to listen, both from the CEO Water Mandate and from those working on the post-2015 agenda, to incorporate those ideas into their moves forward. And then we'll have a final consolidation of the panel deliberations. Josefina has the modest task of providing a bit of a synthesis after our discussions, and then we'll look to adjourn promptly at 5:40. So, to get us moving right again, I'd like to invite our first speaker of the afternoon, Jose Gesti Canuto. He is the WASH specialist with UNICEF and for the water thematic and water thematic consultation coordinator. So please welcome Jose. And I need to make one note as Jose comes up. Jose and I had a discussion at the break earlier this morning. The agenda evolved quite rapidly over the last 24 hours, and Jose's time was cut back significantly on this agenda to 5 minutes, and he let me know that that was inadequate. I agreed with him, and so we've allotted him in the range of 10 minutes, so don't think he's running over time. He's been granted the extra time. So, Jose, please.
Okay, good afternoon. Thanks, Rob, for the introduction. It's a great pleasure for us in UNICEF to be here today representing the Global Thematic Consultation, and we think it's a very interesting theme to present to you. We are happy to share what we know and our knowledge about it, and how is the post-2015 development agenda developing. And it's also an objective of this presentation to walk you a little bit of what is the water thematic consultation. So hopefully after this presentation we have a little bit a clear idea of how the post-2015 development agenda is unfolding. So first of all, when we refer to the post-2015 development agenda, the first thing that we are referring is to the year 2015, right? So the year 2015 is the year where the Millennium Development Goals, the current development agenda, will, as most of you know, come to an end. And we are now in 2013, and then we need to, of course, we have already started the machinery to think what is going to come after. The aims of the next development agenda are going to be, of course, to reflect on the lessons learned of the current MDGs. This is something that is going to be addressed in the next presentation. But also, it's going to be important to address some of the unfinished agenda, and of course, also to bring back some of the neglected issues during the current development agenda. It's been widely acknowledged that the development of the post-2015 agenda needs to be much more inclusive than it was the development of the current agenda. The process needs to be very transparent and inclusive, and of course needs to take into account the voices of the civil society the private sector, of course, and academia, and in general of everybody. So everybody is invited to participate in this conversation. There are various processes that they are leading, and they are feeding in the context of the content of the next development agenda. It's a process that is a little bit complicated, and I don't have a lot of time here, but I'm going to try to do my best with the next slide to walk you over the process. It's kind of, as you're going to see, it's a little bit complicated, but let's try to unfold a little bit what is this process. So here in this slide, what I wanted to present is a quick timeline that goes, starts in 2012 and goes to 2015. Just quickly speaking, it's a timeline that shows in the upper side how a process discussion that was already originating in 2010 has been leading to a current process of content generation. It's kind of a very hectic process now, with a lot of developments and a lot of working groups trying to provide input to what is going to be the next development agenda. This is going to lead into a process of negotiation and debate that will start likely in September this year, and hopefully before 2015 we will have an agreed agenda. But as this is kind of difficult to understand sometimes, there are many different working groups, and as I said, there are many different stakeholders providing input, and somebody can really get lost into this timeline. What I've done here is I have color in different, I have ranked in different levels the different processes, and in the upper side we can see in green what is the intergovernmental process. This process has the origin on the outcome of the Rio +20 conference that, as many of you know, was held in Rio last year in June. So the outcome document of the conference already mandated the development of the Sustainable Development Goals, right? The outcome document did not come with a number of Sustainable Development Goals, but already stated that what it could be the future development goals should be limited in number. They should be aspirational and should be easy to communicate. Another of the things that was already stated in the Rio +20 outcome document is that the future development agenda should really build and link the three main pillars of the sustainable agenda, namely the social, economical and environmental pillars of the sustainable development agenda. To support this process, an open working group has been formed a couple of weeks ago, towards the end of January. And this is called the Open Working Group. This is, you can see in green there. There have been very tough negotiations to be part of this Open Working Group. It was already announced from the beginning that there would be only 30 seats in this, for member states in this Open Working Group. There have been very tough negotiations by member states, and at the end, 69 member states are represented in this working group. It's kind of characteristic because it only has 30 seats, but there are 69 members. That the way that this has been unfolded is cluster of countries are sharing different seats of the open working group. Importantly, in this track, in the intergovernmental process, the open working group is expected to come with a report that is going to be released anytime between September 2013 and September 2014. Which is the time of the duration of the 68th session of the General Assembly. What is expected to come out of this report is a real set of sustainable development goals, differently as we are going to see from the next track. So the second track we have seen now what is the intergovernmental process in green. And then the second track, the parallel track working in parallel with this recently created open working group, is the UN-led process. As we have seen, the intergovernmental process has the origin in the outcome document of Rio +20. This other track, the red track, the UN-led track, has the origin in the outcome document of the NDE summit in 2010. At that time it was asked to Secretary General to initiate already some thinking of how the post-2015 development agenda should be. So Secretary General in August 2011 released a report already talking about the creation of a UN task team. The UN task team was already formed in January 2012 and has been working very actively. Indeed, they have already prepared one of the main inputs to the process of the development agenda, which is a report called Realizing the Future We Want, which was released in June 2012. The UN task team is comprised of 60 UN agencies and international organizations, and is co-chaired by UNDESA and the United Nations Development Programme. To support the work of the UN task team, Secretary General announced in July 2012 the formation of a high-level panel, what is being called the high-level panel of eminent persons on the post-2015 development agenda. This high-level panel is chaired by the presidents of Liberia and Indonesia and the Prime Minister of the UK. The high-level panel is expected to release their report in May 2013, and differently from the report of the other working group, the high-level panel is not expected to release a report with a set of goals, but to talk about the main challenges for the new development agenda, and also reflecting on the lessons learned from the implementation of the current development agenda. This report is going to directly inform the report that is going to be presented by Secretary General on the opening of the 68th session of the General Assembly in September 2013. Also, to make sure that this UN-led process is completely open and transparent, the United Nations Development Group has already initiated what we see in grey, which is country consultations and 11 thematic consultations. The country consultations are already taking place in more than 60 countries. They are adapted to the national context, and they have different shapes, and they are taking place with face-to-face meetings as well as online consultations, SMS messaging, etc. What we're going to focus now is on not the 11 thematic consultations, but the thematic consultation on water, which is one of the 11 thematic consultations. This is the thematic consultation that UNICEF is calling together with UNDESA. In the bottom side of the screen, we see finally another track, which is the non-UN track, and we see different inputs from civil society, different foundations and organizations, and the private sector. Of course, here the UN Global Compact has played a very important role in trying to capture and bring the voices from the private and the business sector into the different inputs. As you can see, there are different connections among the different tracks, and the blue part of the lower part of the slide, which also contains the private sector, has direct inputs to all the different tracks. Hopefully sometime after September 2014, negotiations between member states will come to place, and hopefully will lead before 2015 into an agreed development agenda with a set of sustainable development goals. And at that time, or probably before, conversations will turn around on the development of targets and indicators, as well as monitoring systems, and also the UN system will try to approach an agenda for implementation of the new development agenda. So as I said, now this is, I have few time now, but I wanted to focus the little minutes that I have to talk about the Global Thematic Consultation on Water. As I said, this is co-led by UNICEF and UNDESA, and is co-hosted by the governments of the Netherlands, Switzerland, Jordan, and Liberia. The consultation is divided into a global conversation on what we call big water, and it's also focusing on three subtopics, which are the same subtopics that we are going to be discussing now in the next session, which is water sanitation and hygiene, water resources management, and finally wastewater resources management. The outcomes of this water thematic consultation, for which this meeting serves as a formal input, will be presented on March, in a couple of weeks, in Den Haag, March 21st and 22nd. So we're talking about the Global Thematic Consultation, and the support of the Global Water Thematic Consultation has been a website. As you see, I was talking about 11 thematic consultations, and you can see in the bottom side of what is on a screenshot of the internet. There are 11 icons redirecting you to each of the thematic consultations, and there is an icon on water. When you click on the icon, what you get is you get access directly to our thematic consultation, which is divided in, as I said, on the global conversation on big water, and also links to the different streams according to the different streams that we're going to be discussing now. So, also, as to illuminate a little bit what is going to be the sessions, and just I'm coming to an end, the sessions after the working groups. The way that the thematic consultation has organized the streams is, as I said, similar to the one that is being structured today for this working session. We have been talking about 3 different streams: water, sanitation and hygiene, with different topics. We've been talking about aspirational objectives, for example, universal access to address inequalities. We've been talking about water, sanitation and hygiene beyond the household, providing water, sanitation and hygiene also in schools and health centers, the links between water, sanitation and hygiene and governance issues, as well as environmental sustainability and the links to economic development. Our colleagues in water resources management have been talking about the linkages between water and energy, climate change, water for nature, water for food, and water for peace as well. And finally, the wastewater management and water quality stream have been addressing issues such as wastewater in the urbanizing world, the impact of wastewater in the oceans, wastewater reuse. Some of these things we have been already having some inputs this morning. Just finally, this is the final slide to bring your attention that we, as part of the thematic consultation, we are trying to capture also all the voices from different kind of social media mechanisms, including Facebook and Twitter. I definitely invite you to visit our Facebook, Water Post-2015, and to post your comments on Twitter and also Water Post-2015, which is going to be all part of the inputs that will be part of the synthesis report that is going to be prepared as a final output of this thematic consultation. So thank you very much. I think I did pretty well with time. Thank you.